G'day, today's video we're just going to have a quick chat about the grains I've been using the last couple of years, and if you live somewhere else and can't get them, how to find the best substitute for them. And then we might have a chat about a few other things at the end. Why not? We're here, aren't we? So I was just editing this week's Patreon video and going through some of the footage from a brew day yesterday. Brewed a big IPA. Very nice.
Very nice.
It'll be coming up soon, the Hawker's West Coast IPA. But I noticed some questions on YouTube about people asking about the grain I use. I've been using a lot of Gladfield grain the last, I don't know what it's been, 3-4 years, something like that. And a lot of people haven't got access to that in the US or in the UK. At least not easily. So I just thought I'd help out. It's pretty simple. You can find a lot of grain substitute charts on the interwebs, but Gladfield have their own, and I sort of trust that a little bit more than a lot of the others. And they have substitutes for just about every one of their grains, and many different substitutes, not one. We'll jump onto the website and have a look. It's very easy to find. Of course, you can go into Google and just write Gladfield substitute. And I don't have my glasses on. Hope that's close enough. Yes. Once it loads in, which doesn't take very long since it's just text, you have a huge list of all the substitutes. And on a PC, you can usually press Control F and it'll bring up a find search box. Or, this is Chrome, you can go to the side here and go find. And we can type something like Gladfield Ale. And of course, you can just skip through up and down and see that the Brew Pale Ale 7.5 is close, and it has a ratio too, which is really handy and you don't see on many other sites. For instance here, the Gladfield roasted wheat malt, if you were going to substitute that with midnight wheat, it has a ratio here of 1:3, so you'd use 3 times the amount of Gladfield roasted wheat as you would to midnight wheat. And you can see there why, mainly because of the colour there. That's nearly 1500, and that's around the 500. And that works for everything as well. You know, your Munich. And you can go through. And it's not just Breeze, as I said, they have Joe White, which is Australian anyway, Malt Europe, Simpsons, all sorts, Wyman. Everything you can think of just about. And so that should be able to help Dingham's, Best Malts, Barrett Burston, Bards. It's all there. And it's very easy if you use the search function, as I said, to find it. And just make sure you double check the ratio. And you can do it reverse, of course, too. You know, if you're looking at a recipe and you have access to Gladfield, but something's asking for best malts, you know, black malt, then you can have a look here, and the best substitute, even 1-to-1, is Gladfield light chocolate malt. And I think that's something to mention too, even for people that aren't interested in any of this, that going just via a name about malts, especially when you get into crystals and black malts, dark malts, any of the malts like that, you really should check out the stats before just going looking for a name. Even between the roasted malts, they can be very different. That one happens to be 1-to-1, but the wheat that we just saw before wasn't. This one here is a midnight wheat from someone else, and it's 1-to-6 ratio, or 1-to-1.6 I should say. And the roasted barley here, who are we looking at? We are looking at Breeze. So their roasted barley is a 575, and the Gladfield roasted barley is 1200, so you'd use half as much Gladfield roasted around about as you would theirs. So it's just something to remember. So I hope that helps somebody. And the reason I'm using a lot of Gladfield lately is it's a great malt. I find it really consistent. Of course, all malts, you know, every now and then you'll have a little bit of inconsistency in the grain, but Gladfield I find far less than others. I used to use a lot of Maris Otter. I don't know if anyone remembers the videos I put out a couple of years ago where I had a real bad bag of Maris Otter, and there were such small grains in there I couldn't even mill it without crushing the big grains. But you know, that can happen with all malts. But I haven't had that problem with Gladfield myself. No, I'm not sponsored by Gladfield. I've never got anything free from Gladfield, to be honest. Gladfield, what are you doing? Throw me some malt. I've given you enough free advertising. And I know, I really like it. It's consistency and it's just good flavours. They love what they're doing. They're just a good company to deal with. Tell me your favourite malts down below, and I'll see if I can get them and try them. I'll try them out. I like trying new things. And since we're here, I'll talk about the immersion chiller. I know the second half of the Brew video would have upset some people. People get upset about the strangest things, but because I don't really like using immersion chillers for several reasons. I've had them and used them for a long time. There's probably 8 immersion chillers in my garage at the moment, and I'm not exaggerating about that. I do have to sell some. If anyone wants some of those stainless steel Robo Brew style ones, let me know. $5 or something, you can have them, or a beer or something you can drop off. But I've tried, there's even a video I've got up on YouTube. I tried a pre-chiller with ice. It wasn't for an immersion chiller at that stage. It was for my homemade counterflow chiller from memory. But I'll put a little bit of footage up. Actually, I don't have to put footage up. I can do it live. Hang on a tick. If you go into my channel and we search my channel for, I probably called it pre-chiller. There it is there. And that was in February 2014, this video. It's a bit old school, my old homemade boil pot. But yeah, so there's the old homemade counterflow. It was a hot day, 35 degrees. That's not hooked up to water, that's just air temperature, that one. And I had an esky there and a stainless coil. And somewhere there I throw some ice in, somewhere there. Oh yeah, first I put bottles of frozen water to get, the esky down cold and the water down cold, before a bit later when I went to use it somewhere, I threw a bag of ice in there as well. I did open it up. But anyway, we don't have to watch this now. And it's too warm here. Even yesterday, I was using a counterflow, one of the Colossus ones, big one. And I had it going really slow. And my wort was still coming out at 22 degrees. That's just because our groundwater here is so hot. It really has to be the middle of winter for it to get under 20 degrees. In the middle of winter, with a counterflow or my plate chiller, I can get the beer down to lager temps. Just about, depends. Right in the middle of winter I can. But with an immersion chiller, even in the immersion chiller work a lot better in the middle of winter. But because we're in that single pot, it's different to if you're using gas, because the gas heat sort of disappears straight away. But when you're in a single vessel, with you've got hot elements at the bottom, they're still hot, 10, 15, 20 minutes later, after you've turned them off, just from the residual heat, that it just makes it a little bit hard to get under that 30 degree mark. It really struggles, or you can take a long time to get under that 30 degree mark. And yeah, I've tried all the different ways of putting the chiller in ice, but it's just, I get those ways work, and you'll still make beer. You can make better beer than I make doing it that way. I just prefer to use other methods. That's it. And I tried to make that video, and I apologise for the people that were waiting. I tried to do a premiere on that video where I scheduled it to be live at a certain time, but I forgot to click a little tick box. And so it come up, and I noticed it just before that video went live. See, I was going to be there live and answer questions because I knew it was going to cause, some people to get upset, because that's what videos do. And I messed it up. And I tried, some people might have realised that the video went down. I took the video offline for a minute or two because I was trying to figure out how to make it go live again and let everyone know that I was going to be there. But once it was made public once, it wouldn't let me schedule it again, and I would have had to upload it all again and go through all that again. And I didn't do that. I just made it public again. So I just wanted to say that. One more thing before we go, and I will do a video about this. I did brew in the Gen4 again yesterday. I used 6.62 or 3 kilo of grain, so it was a big grain bill. I mashed in with 22 litres of water, and that, I don't think that would have even fit in the last version of the Gen3. It would have been coming through the handle holes of the mash pipe. And the mash went really, really well. I was down a fair bit on my numbers, but I haven't updated the Brewfather profile. I'm still using the Gen4, and because you've got less dead space, I'm using more water, and just the way I brew is a little bit organic. I ended up boiling for 90 minutes and getting down to my numbers, and I still had 23 litres in the fermenter. So everything worked out in the end. I think I was 2 points down, 3 points down, which didn't worry me, that couple of points. But what I'm really talking about is the mash and how it handled the 6.6 kilo grain, and it worked really well. What's 6.6 kilo in pounds? 6.6 kilo is 1 stone. No, I need pounds, not stones. Although I suppose everyone else knows what that means. I don't. A 14.5 pound I had in it, and 22 litres is 5.8 gallons, so nearly 6 gallons, and 14.5 pound. So it went really well. Another thing people wanted me to do was to punish it with hops. That's coming. I'm going to do something, throw a good 300-400 grams of hops in there and see how the false bottom goes. But yesterday I got a great trube and hop cone from Whirlpooling, and I did an IPA yesterday, and it used about 90 grams in the Whirlpool. But you'll see it was a fair hop cone. But the next one, I'll make sure I do one where I throw a lot of hops at it. I don't think there's going to be a problem, to be honest. Yesterday went really, really well. There will be a video showing the 6.6 kilo, mash and how it went. And I'll do another one, like a big NIPA where I throw all those hops at it, and I'll show you that as well. That'll be upcoming in the next week or so. The Patreons will get an early look at yesterday's brew, probably today, which is Friday the 29th. And anyway, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, share. Thanks to my patrons, because without them, I couldn't keep doing this, and that means a lot to me. All right, take it easy. Love yous all. Cheers.